capture some of us or most of us, or I think I'll
maybe like a box to maybe set it on.
Well, yeah, I got a bin over here. Maybe we'll put it up there. Let's see what. Well, I'm trying to
Let
get.
me hold this so while you do that. Okay.
There we go.
Now you got her.
All right.
There's some pens. You don't need this right now.
So we got. Is Terry and Theron here? Oh, I thought they were coming. All right. Well, so be it. So we got some folks that have been engaged with our organization for a long time. We haven't seen for a while. We got Terry and Carl, and we got Ronnie and Kathy. Kathy and Ronnie have been around for a long time. Kathy's been around, and Ronnie both have been around almost from the beginning of the Human Solution. We got Patrice. She's been here since we went up to the Journey for Justice up in
2012.
up in Montana. So 2013 Patrice came aboard. It was 2013 we went up there. Anyways, then of course I'm here, my lovely wife and Lisa. And so the thing that's important about these meetings is that it really doesn't matter if you've got some big fancy agenda. It's usually good to have at least one activity that everybody can do that's simple enough. But kind of the most important thing, well, there's two things. One, if it turns out to just be a pot party, I consider it to be a waste, because we all do that all the time.
I don't think you ever had fun.
Well, in the beginning, we've had a lot of meetings that tried to be meetings, and everybody was too busy eating and smoking to actually pay attention. And so at one point, we actually changed the rules a little bit that said, while the meeting's going on, we're not smoking pot because it's too distracting. And as much as I love pot, and I have, I've gone to jail for it, and I've been willing to risk everything I've ever done in my life for it. It can be very distracting. So when it comes time for us to sit down and work and get something done, I think it's important that we're not sitting around being stoned to do it. Or anything, we're not doing mushrooms and doing it. We're not drinking and doing it. We're not doing DMT and doing it. We're not doing acid and doing it. We're actually sitting around clear-headed to try to make a plan and try to make something happen. And I think that it's kind of it's a balance, because we're doing this so that we have the right to do whatever we want. But the other side of it is, if what we want is not helping us get what we want, then maybe we should rethink how we're doing it.
Right.
And so what we did in the old days, and I stand by this, I think it's a wise way to go forward, is we hurry up and get the meeting done. And then we can go and smoke and eat and talk all we want. So we break the meeting into two parts, generally speaking, and we get down to business. We get whatever the activity is done. We have our discussion about it. We call that meeting to end, and then we go and enjoy ourselves. And I think I recommend anybody who has never done a chapter meeting to at least have a focus. So we now have 6 new chapters that are just starting to have their new meetings.
6 new chapters?
And so part of what we're trying to do is, create a template, make it easy for people. So first of all, I'd like to just get everybody to introduce themselves. We're on a live feed right now, so we'll go around the room and everybody can see. Patrice.
I'm Randy.
Randy.
I'm Terry.
Terry.
I'm Kathy Z.
Kathy Z.
Uncle Ronnie.
There's Patrice. She is there. And Randy.
And Terry's down there.
Miss
And
Lisa.
Kathy Z.
And Coco.
And Ronnie's over
Yeah,
there.
look at Coco.
And
She's in
Lisa.
And where's Liz?
Yeah.
Ah,
There's
yeah.
Liz.
Put you in there, girlfriend.
There's.
Come on.
Yay!
Yay!
All right. So, one of the things that happens with me, anybody who's ever worked with me,
Willow.
we're gonna show up on time and we're gonna get to work. So if you come late to my meeting, well, you can come, but just don't interrupt because we're working, and you're gonna stand out as being late, and it's just the way it is. There's a level of professionalism that I demand with people that I'm working with. I will show up on time to everything I do, and I expect those people working with me to do the same. So when people come strolling in late, it's all good. We love you. There's not any harm, but the serious people that are here to get this job done, they're going to show up here on time and they're going to be ready to work. And then, trust me, we love to have fun. There is no shortage of that in this family and in the work that we do. It's not in any way restricting that. But we get our work done and then we go and have some fun.
Yeah, you're basically trying to keep it organized.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you got a lot of people, a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, a lot of exuberance sometimes. And, we try to hold it together as long as we can. And then we get our work done and then go explode and have some good old time. So that being said, I want to, before we get started, we have a short task that we're going to do here that's not going to take us very long. But I talked about it on the radio before, and Craig Cecil has written a letter, and I'll just read it because it's what we're going to do. So your part in this is going to be to put the date on it and address it to your congressman or your senator, which means you got to go and look up who it is and what their name is, and you're going to have to find their address, which I'll show you how to do, and you're going to customize this to your elected official. We're in the state of California. We have one congressman and two senators like everybody else. And you can pick whichever one you want to do, or you can do it to one of each of them, however you want to do it. So this is a letter that Craig Cecil wrote. And if you are inspired, and I hope somebody is to take this letter and write it yourself and make it your own. I would love to see that. But meanwhile, this is the easiest solution.
How many pages is that?
It's one page. There's just
Whoa. Okay.
a bunch of copies.
Can we post that
It's on our website.
already? Okay.
Yeah. And you can share it. I welcome that.
Okay.
But anyways, this is the letter. I'm going to read it out loud for everybody so you know what it is that you're signing if you're not going to read it yourself. The war on drugs was launched in a speech by President Nixon on June 17, 1971. The Drug Enforcement Agency was born, and the Controlled Substances Act criminalized at the federal level of a variety of drug offenses. In the 1980s, violent crime rates were on the rise, and drug activity was seen as the underlying culprit. In an effort to stem the pervasive violent crime, the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986 was enacted. This raised the penalty for distributing drugs, including marijuana, up to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Over 4,000 federal prisoners now languish in federal prisons serving life sentences. In one example, Craig Cecil, who was a 42-year-old truck repair shop owner in 2002, serviced trucks for a company which used them to traffic marijuana. Although he had no prior criminal record, he was sentenced to life in prison under the drug conspiracy statute. The intention of the war on drugs was to stem violent crime, but under federal law, non-murder violent crimes carry a sentence of up to 20 years in prison. As an example, attempt to commit murder, 18 U.S.C. 1113, carries up to 20 years in prison. Also, bearing up to 20-year sentences, Section 1716, mailing anything by postal service with the intent to kill. Section 1959A, assault with a dangerous weapon resulting in serious bodily injury. Section 1991, entry to a train to commit murder. Section 2275, placing a bomb on an American vessel with the intent to injure. And even Section 2384, conspire to overthrow, put down, or destroy by force of government the United States, or to levy war against them. But a marijuana crime carries up to life in prison, and the courts impose it. So all these horrible crimes, heinous crimes, are carrying up to 20 years, up to 20 years. But pot crime can bring you life in prison, and it does, and it has.
Can I suggest a senator when you're done there?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're going to write one for yourself.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Each of us are going to do that. We're going to look them up.
And marijuana prohibition is ended on Riverside Drive in Burbank.
That's what they say.
Um,
All right. So, anyways,
No, we've got Calvert.
the war on drugs has failed. It has not impacted violent crime, which still affects many of our inner cities. Drugs are stronger and cheaper and even more plentiful than they were in 1986, when the up to life statute was enacted. Many people suffer, such as Craig Cecil, under life sentences, which are disproportionate to their crime. Most states have reduced drug penalties, and 31 states have legalized marijuana distribution in some form. Most experts have concluded there's no link between violence and drugs, especially marijuana. Drug crime penalties should be brought into parity with non-murder violent crimes, which have an obvious victim. Some say drug distribution has many victims, but these victims are the same as those who buy cigarettes and alcohol. Drug distribution has destroyed many people and even whole neighborhoods, and like cigarettes and alcohol, should be regulated by law. If left to local authorities, life sentences for drugs are extremely rare and never imposed on first-time offenders. It's time for the federal government to follow the lead of the states, who have largely lowered their penalties for drug activity since 1986. Drug rehabilitation has effectively replaced imprisonment in many cases, and recidivism rates have diminished with reduced penalties. Marijuana offenses have been excised, except for the most egregious distribution offenses under state law for those without permits. Antiquated federal drug statutes have left many families bearing the brunt of prison sentences, which are not proportionate to the crime. Nearly one half of the 180,000 federal prisoners are serving sentences for drug offenses. Their sentences are generally 3 to 4 times the sentences borne by bank robbers, sex traffickers, and those who assault or shoot law enforcement officials and arsonists. These sentences are disproportionate to their crimes and deserve the attention of Congress. The war on drugs has failed. The experiment is over. Drug statutes should be brought into parity with violent crime statutes. Wherefore, a drug crime should carry a range of imprisonment from probation to up to 20 years in prison. This would serve to save tax dollars and would save the injury to families left behind by those such as Craig Cecil, who was taken away from his young children to serve life for a marijuana sentence. The drug statutes should be amended by congressional action to impose a sentence up to 20 years in prison. And that's it. So pass these around. And again, I encourage anybody
I'm going to write it out, but I
To-
want one of them.
to write it out. But at very least, take one of these and get it off today with all the rest of us. And you can write your own on your own time. Do it again. They're never going to know that you had already sent one. When we have lots of, actually, I need a longer envelope. This is a short envelope. I think we have some long envelopes. So the next step is
Okay, got
who are we going to, yeah, it's on both sides.
Gotcha.
One person I was going to suggest
Uh-huh.
is a recently seated Senator Pamela Harris. Or
Pamela, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
And just a minute. She was Attorney General of California,
Yep.
and she saw a lot of these laws being enacted and worked with. And I think she would be an excellent person to send one of these.
I think that's a great idea.
And she would probably actually read it and consider it.
Well, we're going to first start. The first step here is we're going to log on to congress.gov. Okay, so that's where we find out who are these members of Congress. And I believe, let's see.
You guys have Calvert, please.
course, that page isn't working.
Congress.com, is that what you said?
Congress.gov.
And California just recently put a whole bunch of Democrat Congress people in there. There's
Yeah.
something like 9 Republicans left in the whole state.
Yep. Yep. That's definitely the case.
The Rohrbacher got removed.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Or maybe it's congress.org.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was congress.gov.
Scan these, go through and personalize them and have you send one to Carl.
What we could do is take one copy.
Well, there's house.gov. That's a start. So if we're going to write to your representative, you can look it up and let's see if there's a senate.gov.
Yeah, our
Because
guy.
congress.gov is down for whatever reason. So
Oh, well, the government
Yeah.
shut down.
They closed the door.
yeah, but that shouldn't have anything to do with the website.
I think Pelosi just shut the lights off, pulled the plug, and said, "Okay, we'll see you next week."
Yeah, but on the bright side, they get awfully busy when they do start up. And Jeff Sessions is gonna come out. That's who was really scared. They're coming after the California. For federal.
And one of the local reps here is Calvert. And
Yeah, I know. He keeps getting elected.
he would probably send our name over to
Yours
Justice
too,
Department for
Well,
Is
investigation.
Calvert yours as well?
He knows me, thank you.
Yeah, and we know
I've written him a few
And
times.
I'm not a Feinstein
All right, so here we go.
fan either. 'cause she
Senate.gov.
kept putting down the cannabis.
Mhm.
She's a bitch.
Well, times are changing.
Yeah, her
Yeah,
and Boxer,
I really don't like politicians.
her and Boxer both came out against it.
Yeah.
Years back.
Yeah.
It's hard to say where really that goes
Yeah.
Ken
now.
Calvert told me he didn't work for the people of California,
Yes.
he worked for the federal government.
Yeah.
He wrote that in a letter to me.
What they need to do is
Ah.
they need to pass a bill removing marijuana from class 1
Oh,
Um,
excellent.
on the list
Absolutely.
and put it down class 5 where it belongs.
They need to take
Well, it
it
shouldn't have
off.
any kind of-
Wait, hold on.
Oh.
Here's an important thing to consider.
Okay.
Just to consider.
Okay.
You can, obviously, everybody has a right to their own opinion. But they just passed the farm bill that took hemp,
Right.
which guess what hemp is?
Uh-huh.
Cannabis.
It's cannabis.
Cannabis
it's dope,
sativa.
and
It
all
is cannabis. It's not different from marijuana. It's
What'd they
the
do
same.
with
They descheduled it.
They did.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. So the legal definition of hemp is cannabis that has less than 0.3% THC, but it is the same plant. It's
I-
not a different plant. So it wouldn't be a far reach to say if you were able to deschedule the plant, this one same plant,
You've already
you might be
scheduled it.
able to do the same thing if it was greater than 0.3%. Nothing happened. Nobody blew up. The world didn't go into chaos. There was nobody even noticed.
Yeah, because the last time anybody brought that to the floor of the House,
This
about
went through
descheduling-
both houses and was just passed by the president.
Yeah, okay. Listen, this is like 10 years ago. One of the California Democrats was trying to introduce a bill descheduling,
Yeah.
and the Republicans just went, "Nope, that don't even get looked at."
Well, there's been throughout the last 10 years a dozen,
attempts.
more than a dozen different bills that have died in committee, never even got to the floor for a
Right.
vote. None of them
But-
have even gotten to the floor for a vote.
They-
Not
This
they-
one.
one
Fourth
actually
Amendment
made it,
was
and they
totally-
descheduled him.
Yes.
So that's like,
That's just happened 2
Yeah.
weeks ago.
okay.
Okay,
great.
so this and President Trump, the one everybody hates, is the one that signed this thing into law. Okay, so whatever. All I'm saying, I'm not here to make a political statement. I'm just here to say that I don't know why we would get stuck to limit this thing in any way if we don't have to. You know, Schedule 5 still has its restrictions. You still have to be FDA approved
Right.
to manufacture a Schedule 5 substance. You
Yeah.
realize that? Just like making asprin. I can't sell aspirin
Right. Well,
because
that's-
I'm not FDA approved to do that.
yeah, that's a whole nother control.
Well, but what I'm saying is cannabis is less dangerous than aspirin.
Yeah.
Even though people are afraid of it, doesn't mean it's more dangerous. Nobody's ever died from cannabis, but lots of people have died from aspirin. So there's
Still on
actually-
live stream or not?
Yes, I'm still on live stream. There's
You're
there.
on Facebook.
It's on YouTube, not on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, so I'm trying to get away from Facebook. I hate Facebook.
Yeah.
I know you do.
I
love it.
I know, and that's fine. I'm not telling anybody
Yep.
what to do or not do. I'm just saying I'm doing this on YouTube, and I'm trying to drive people to YouTube because I
I
think
do
it's
love your YouTube.
a nicer forum, and I haven't had anybody go crazy on me on YouTube.
Really?
And I've had a lot of people go crazy on me on Facebook. Exactly. So, anyways, that all being said,
Crazy.
that all being said, we're gonna select. Honey, can you grab some long envelopes? I know we have so we don't have any. All right, then you guys are gonna have to take them home and get your own damn
I
envelopes.
will do
Or
that.
fold it
That's
up.
doable.
Fold it up and stick it in the envelope.
Well, you'll have to fold it in half to stick it in here, which I guess you could, but it's just
Not as good looking.
Send them in little envelopes.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Envelopes.
you could fold it in quarters. It'll fit in here.
We got plenty. of
So,
money.
all right, we'll use the little ones for now. Anyways,
Oh,
let's
fuck
start.
it.
Let's start this thing right now. You guys got your
All
envelopes?
you have to do is sign it, right?
Well, no. The first thing I'm going to do is look up.
Liz got envelopes.
Okay, we're going to look up the congressman that we're going to send this to. So the first question I have is, do you want to send it to a congressman, or do we all have the same congressman? Is it Ken Calvert?
Yeah.
Everybody?
Yeah, just-
Unfortunately.
Well, we
we're
want
all-
to send them to Melissa too.
Well, we have one congressman. So what's your congressman if it's different? Because you can only send it to a congressman that's your congressman, or they won't care.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
I'm
Melissa
gonna introduce
Melendez.
it because
Well-
I'm working with Elizabeth Warren too, so I'm gonna do it through that.
Well, that's all
okay.
fine and dandy. I'm just saying if we're going to do what Craig asked us to do, which
Well,
was
I'm
to
gonna
send
do
it
that.
to our congressman, because I'm just following
Who's
the
our
guys.
congressman?
The guys which ours is Ken Calvert.
Calvert.
Yeah.
Don't
So
vote
we'll
for
start-
him again, please.
Nobody
haven't
did,
voted
and
for
he's
him
still
yet.
I
doing
know.
it.
I don't know how.
So
that's going on.
here's the deal with Ken Calvert
Yeah.
is we have two. There's depending on where you are in this district, we have two Congress people. I don't know where the district is cut up,
Yeah, they. cut
but
that
we got Mark
pretty
Takano in District 41 and Ken Calvert's in District 42. I know specifically we're in District 42.
You're in 42.
And we're
I'm in
definitely,
42.
we're all Ken Calvert.
If it's
We
Calvert.
all are.
Because I was going to say go for 41 if you're.
Oh.
All right. So, anyways, if we're going to send this to Ken Calvert, here's how we reach him. Okay, you guys all got a pen?
Yeah, we-
Not yet. Okay.
So we have a choice of a Washington office or a district office.
What do you think we should do?
Ken
I'd
Calvert.
probably send it to a district office.
Okay.
So the address for Ken is 400
Is that 3 zeros? Joseph. is that-
400
Okay. 400 then.
South Vicentia, VICENTIA Avenue, Suite number 125, Corona, CORONA, 92882.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that
in Corona.
That's in Corona. 92882. All right.
Calvert is with a C, correct?
Yeah, Ken with the K, Calvert with the C.
Well, I just wanted to be sure.
Okay, so I do have some stamps. If anybody needs a stamp, and we can do this right now.
All right, so next we're gonna look up the senators.
Oops, that's not small enough.
And so I'm gonna send 3 letters, and I'm gonna send one to each of them. And that's the most I can do and follow along with this. Now, the thing is, Ken Calvert's an asshole, okay?
Could you be more specific?
when we were working hard to get HR 1523 supported back in 2013, we did a pretty massive letter writing campaign to him, and the goal again was to get a response and initiate a dialogue. And like Kathy said, he was a wall. He didn't want to talk. But the point is it's now 6 years later, and a lot of changes have happened in California since that time. And I think if he's a human being, even if he's an asshole, he's a human being. And if enough people continue to knock on the door, look, I'm a guy, okay? I know the rule of guys. If any guy can get any girl in the world if he wants to by just trying hard enough. And it's the truth. If you go after it and you just keep at it long enough, you'll get what you want at one point. And it might take 2 or 3 lifetimes to do it, but it can be done. There's nothing you can't do.
Calvert's interested in 2 things.
Yeah.
And that's donations
Right.
and votes.
Well,
everything else he could no.
that's all fine and dandy,
this
but
is what he does. So you got to approach him at that angle.
I have no problem with that.
Huh?
Get off your soapbox.
No. The soapbox is fine. This is totally good. Soapbox is totally welcome. The point is, I welcome you to write a personal letter to him as well.
Uh-huh.
But the point is, we got this. It's here. Craig Cecil, guy rotting in prison right now, is asking us to do this. I'm just saying, let's do this first, just like he's asking. And then please take your time and write a personal letter to him. And let's talk about how you didn't vote for him or you'd like to vote for him. Or say, I got a bunch of people want to donate money to you, but you're an asshole, so we won't. Or whatever you think the way to him
I wouldn't
is.
even let on to what party I'm going to be.
Perfect.
I would be more of a thing is like, you're my representative because I live in this district.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah.
Well, I think that's fantastic. And I think that
In that way, he would know who is talking to him.
perfect.
And he might actually read the thing.
Well, and that's ultimately our goal,
Right.
is to get him to read it. And I don't have an answer. If I would have known how to reach him, I'd be telling you all how to do it. I guarantee you. But I know that if we keep trying, I know what won't work is by not doing anything. I know if we do something, we got a chance of something to happen. And that's what I'm advocating for.
One piece
You
of
need a
luck
stamp?
would be also if these guys have interns
Sure.
and they have their interns handle all their mail for them because they don't want to be bothered with it. And they hand them a box of mail every day. And
Absolutely.
they have like 2 interns that go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
You might actually get some headway out, something like that.
I totally agree. And I think that that's another thing to consider is, especially I know people that have done a lot of phone work
Mhm.
and they've called their Congress people incessantly. And of course, you very seldom get through to the congressperson, but you get through to their staffer and you get to know that staffer.
Right. And, their
And
staffers
at
just
one
trying to build a
point, you
career.
say, hey, I'd like to make a visit. I know we've been talking a lot over the last 10 years or 3 months or whatever. I'd sure like to, maybe you can help me to make a real appointment. I'd like to meet with this guy.
Mhm.
You know, again, you're dealing with real people. Real
That's kind of
people.
how it's done. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's kinda how-
So I absolutely support, getting through to them by whatever. All right, here we go. So we got Dianne Feinstein is one of our senators.
Yeah.
And so we've got a San Diego office, a LA office, a San Francisco office, and a Washington, D.C. I think San Diego is probably closest to us.
Yes.
So here is
Too little for trees.
Dianne Feinstein.
It's too little.
That's all right. If we fold it in quarters, it'll fit in there.
I-E
All right. If you got enough of them.
I did that
Mhm.
already.
I-E-R-E-I.
All right. So we got Dianne Feinstein. Address. Okay. Dianne is spelled D-I-A-N-N-E. Feinstein is F-E-I-N-S-T-E-I-N. Address is 880 Front Street, F-R-O-N-T. And it's suite number 4236.
3426.
4236. San Diego.
San Diego, really?
Yeah.
She's senator of the whole state.
Got one there, one LA. One
92101.
9-2.
Gosh,
Okay.
she's been there for what, 20 years now?
Long time.
101.
Way longer than she needs to be, in my opinion.
92101. Yes. Longer than a lot of her constituents have been around.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're going to look up Kamala Harris, and she's our other one.
And I have followed her in the past, and I appreciated what she stood up for at the time. But that was like over 10 years ago.
She's probably in the process of building her staff in her office. And you might have people in that office that are volunteers or paid, whatever.
Not this week.
Well, just a minute. And
Thank you, Liz.
that are all trying to build their own career.
Right.
And they might get curious about something like this and see an in that they could use.
All right, so Kamala Harris, again, I found her on senate.gov, and she has 6 offices: Fresno, San Francisco, Sacramento, LA, San Diego, and
Let's do the
Washington,
Sacramento
D.C.
one.
You want Sacramento? Okay. So Kamala Harris is spelled Kamala. Harris is Harris. And her office address in Sacramento is 501 I Street, Suite 7-800, Sacramento, SACRAMENTO, California, 95814. Okay.
Got it.
And then really, again, the simplest solution to this is just make sure you put on the beginning of this thing your date, and you're going to put attention Kamala Harris, U.S. Senator, and then sign it on the back. And add anything if you decide you want to, a PS to it. Now, the next thing, as I discussed, and I read this letter on the show from Michael Thompson, and I don't have a pre-made letter for this yet, and I'm going to work on something, and we'll put this up on the website.
Okay.
But this is really, both of these are personal requests from the inmate to us. And I've been working with Michael Thompson for, like I said, 6 years now. And he's a good guy. And I've worked with his family members. I've worked with his minister. I've worked with his nephew, the state senator. I mean, I've spent probably 100 hours working with Michael Thompson to help get him free. And to have the governor of Michigan shit on him at this stage is really, it seemed like it was a personal thing. He didn't like his nephew, the state senator. And so he had almost as a personal beef said, well, F you.
Was that Schneider?
No, this was Sheldon Neely is the state senator that is not Sheldon's gone too, and I think, and then the governor is also gone. So now there's a new governor, which will
Democrat.
I think so, and it's a woman.
It was.
And I believe again, that being the case, and the fact that Michael Thompson is in state prison, he's not in federal prison. And he's serving, a 30-year plus sentence. He's already done 28 years in prison. Okay, and I think he's got 20 years to go. You got he's not anywhere
in concurrent.
Yeah, he's not getting out. He's going to die in prison. He's 65 years old.
That's
If
crazy.
he could get to the current
That
governor,
is so crazy.
That's what we're going to go to do.
he might have a shot.
I know. That's the point. Well, Michael has specifically asked me to do that. And I'm going to send Michael a letter tonight letting him know that we're sitting here at a meeting and we're going to take this under our wing and we're going to go at it. So that's what I'm going to handcraft tonight is that. And so, this is something that, we're sitting here living this great life where we have all the food we want to eat and a roof over our heads, and I can come and I can go and I can come and I can go and I can do what I want for the most part. And Michael Thompson's sitting in state prison where he's been sitting there for the last 28 years, and he has no victim.
Right.
Okay.
He's the victim.
When he was sentenced, when you get sentenced, they take a statement from the prosecutor, they take a statement from the defense, the defendant, and they take a statement from the victim and the victim's family. Well, in the pot cases, there's no victim and there's no victim's family. And yet we still have these sentences, and we still have most people in Michigan are like, "Ooh, we're legal. Everything's good. Let's hurry up and be compliant." Everybody's worried
The
about
kids don't
their-
understand it, and general population really doesn't
Dispensaries
get
don't
it.
care.
Oh, absolutely not, because they're only interested in the profit.
Marijuana prohibition ended.
Yeah.
But anyway, she just opened her office a week ago, and she'll be there for 4 years,
right
on this boat. And
so we have the
might have a real
ability
shot with her.
to really get in and start knocking on those doors. So that's going to be a personal, with the federal thing, it's a bigger obstacle.
It is.
Even though
Huge.
we've already made a lot of leeway and we've already made a lot of progress, it's an easier obstacle than it was 5 years ago. But with the state, it's just a signature.
Yeah.
With the federal, it has to go through
That's a
both sides
bureaucracy.
of the Congress, and then the president. So we got three warring parties have to agree with each other on something, which somehow for hemp they did.
Yeah.
But it was before the new Congress came in. Whether it would have happened today, I don't know. But it doesn't matter.
I
It
like to
did.
think so, but
It
you're
did.
right. It doesn't
It was
matter.
Schumer and his Kentucky cronies out there with the.
That's right.
Well,
Because
Kentucky has a
tobacco bill-
lot to gain.
Yep.
That's why. But anyways, at the end of the day, this is one person, one signature.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's what's at
That's
stake
what
here.
she-
This governor can say you're out,
She could.
and
Just like
right there, the warden comes in and says, "Michael, pack up your shit and get out of here." And that's what could happen
that.
with one person.
It's
So
possible.
I think that
It
if we
wasn't a
could
year
concentrate
ago.
our thoughts in that, right? A year ago, that governor was like, "F you,"
Exactly.
you know,
Schneider,
and
What you looking for, girlfriend?
so
I can't find my phone. I wanted to take a picture of the letters so I could have the addresses and.
Do we need to call you?
anyhow,
It must be out in the car.
thank you so much, Scott and Nikki and Laura, who are joining with us. And we got Bobby here. Is there anything anybody else wants to add to this? I'm starved and I haven't eaten anything, and I think we're
Me
about ready for some fun and games. So anybody want to add anything to it? This is a good, 35, 40-minute meeting. If you go longer than that, people lose their attention span
That's right.
anyways.
Walks away, yeah.
Especially when we're hungry.
Yeah, they start looking for their phone.
Anybody have anything they want to add to this?
Yes, I do. I
All
wanna
right.
Say that 20% of the people do 80% of the work, so we need to start offloading and grab some other people and make them aware of what's going on.
I couldn't agree more. The 80-20
Right on,
rule.
Lisa.
That's absolutely a thing, and it's absolutely true. So, let's these little things. Scott and Nikki, I know you guys are getting ready to have a meeting. I mean, it's this simple. Get one person to come and join you. One person, and that just doubles your membership. You have two people in your chapter right now. You get one, you just have to again. So anyways, at the end of the day, it shouldn't be that hard to get one person to come and sit down, and literally this was the easiest task there was. Let's make it happen. Laura, hopefully we can find at least one person near you that's willing to start a chapter. It's the simplest thing. It doesn't require anything outside of just saying, yeah, I'll do it. Hopefully you get actually somebody to sign up and be a member. Bobby, anything to add?
Just that I'm going to be reaching out to all the chapter owners to do interviews to post information about the chapters on the website.
Perfect.
Yay.
Perfect. Well, for anybody who's watching this live or will watch it in the future, this is the headquarter chapter, the one that started it all, Southern California style, and we're the ones that we're gonna walk our way into the end of prohibition. So thank
And
you all
we
for being
rock.
here, and we rock absolutely. So we'll see you all next time.